guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and I want to talk to you about being self-sufficient. This has been a question from the idea pool, and the question came up: if we as INFJs, or no matter what kind of personality type, what do you do to be self-sufficient? Do you want to be self-sufficient? What does it mean to be self-sufficient, and so on? And when I read that, I directly thought of the 3 steps that I've known from this book, the principles of the habits of highly effective people. And I really enjoyed that book, and I learned a lot of things from it. And one of the concepts was that you first you are dependent, then you're independent, and then you're interdependent. And you can't be interdependent unless you're independent. And those 3 steps are important to understand, because then we understand, what does self-sufficient actually mean? What kind of independence do we want to go to, or urge to, or is healthy for us? Because so often we think, well, being independent is a good thing, so that means I will be completely reclusive. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to have connections with people. And once you go down that road, you're bound to be lonely. You're bound to be depressed, because we do need connections in our life. But I think what we have to understand is that there's a different intent in why we have connections and the way we have connections. And if we are not developed, and this is, no matter what kind of personality type, just in general, there's a lot of dependency in between people. And this dependency can come across through codependency. It can be narcissistic behavior. It can be whatever kind of unhealthy relationships we go through. And mainly it means that we do things because we want to get something back, and there's always a dependency on that. So if you have a person who always needs to have others' admiration in order for that person to feel okay, then there's a dependency in it. If you want to be considered a good person, and you do things in order for other people to view you as a good person, that's a dependency. Because once the people around you don't think you're a good person, and you try to convince them that you're a good person, that's a dependency issue. And I think the main problem with this, or the most difficult part about it, is that we can't really tell that we're in those spaces when we're out there, in there. We know afterwards, I know afterwards, I'm pretty sure there's still dependency things within me. I can't imagine that you can get completely, out of these things, but I've gotten out of this having to prove that I'm a good person in a lot of ways. And I was willing to betray myself, or to compromise my well-being and my integrity and who I am, for other people to think that I'm a good person, because I knew from their point of view that's what they would expect, that's what they would think, that's what a good person should look like. And that's why I did those things. And I think for INFJs, it happens very often that we get in those things where we live in others' worlds. I've had a series about this a year ago, because it's not that present for me anymore, but I used to live there. I used to be completely absorbed from other people's emotions, other people's worldviews, or kind of the way they saw their world, and I was part of it, and that's a dependency. And this dependency is not only shown through that, you can also be dependent through having to always be in the center of something, and having to be liked, or celebrity kind of wise. You always have to you feel like you always have to do something to entertain people in order to prove your space on the world, pretty much. And this is the dependency kind of thing when it's unhealthy. The second part is the independent state. The independent state means that you reach a point where you say, what is it I can completely take care of myself? What is it where I have to shift and I have to do certain things for me, so I get away from all those dependency things. And it's not, you can, as I said, you can never be completely isolated from everybody, because if you do, then we pretty much die inside. We yearn for connection, no matter if you need one person or you need 50,000 or whatever it is. You need some kind of reflection of who you are to the world. You need to see some kind of like a feedback, an external feedback. That's why I always say it's not that healthy to be completely only introverted, because if you go down that road too much, at some point you just have no stimuli and you go crazy. But the independent state is to actually realize, okay, I don't need that validation from others. And let's say we take those two examples. We have that one person that is all out of trying to entertain, is all focused on external validation, is doing all those things in order to be liked, and things like they have to play a certain role, what is expected in society in order to be liked. And then we have that other person that completely neglects like what they need, that they need some kind of feedback, that they need some kind of appreciation, and that they only live in other people's world. So let's say those two examples, if they wanted to get independent, what both types of people need to do, or this is my experience because I've experienced it with me and I've experienced with a very extroverted type, and we both kind of grew at the same time, was to change our lives that way that we get that love that we yearn from others through ourselves, and we do that through doing things that are good for us. And I think it's a very difficult step, and sometimes you really need to be pushed in that direction. That's why it's always good to confront yourself with people who live like a different lifestyle than you, who are very extroverted, and they push you to kind of like but they don't allow you to live in their world. They push you to do your own thing, and vice versa. And so what happens is let's say there's a certain thing you think like, I need to do this in order for people to love me. And it's not going to be that you're just gonna stop doing those things and then people are still gonna love you. They're gonna love you in a different way, but they're not gonna love you in that way. And that's not even real love, because what you're yearning for is for people to like you because of what you give to them. And so when you stop giving them what they want, either being like entertaining them or making them feel like they're somebody special, the other type, when you stop doing that, then you have a hole in yourself. There's some kind of appreciation that is lacking, that you were getting because you were playing a part in society, because you were playing by the rules. So, and in order to fill that gap, that pain, that which you created, you need to do things for yourself. Like, if you don't like watching the news, stop watching the news. Don't do it because you know that's what expected of you from society, to know everything and so on. If you don't like doing it, don't do it. If you like listening to music all the time, listen to music. If you like colorful things, if you like playing with trains, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you just do for yourself. And you by yourself can fill up that hole to a certain point. And you push yourself through doing those things, and things that you know that people might, like if you're an INFJ or an introvert, it's very specifically doing things that you know people are not gonna like, or they're not gonna feel good about themselves. Like for me, it was very often that I didn't want to dress up or be all colorful or eccentric how I am, because I felt like the people around me will feel bad about themselves, that they're not having that. That's how it feels like. It's not even actually like this in reality, but that's how it felt like for me. And there is actually a difference. Yeah, that person that I gave him that feeling of, oh, you're somebody special or more special than me because I made myself small. Once I don't make myself small, once I like blossom up, that person is gonna feel that difference. They're gonna feel that difference in hierarchy or whatever, or not hierarchy as in power, but how well they feel about their life. It will become more obvious to them if there's something lacking in their life. That's true. And we so often, that's that martyr type that we kind of like think through that we get our value, and that's what we have to stop. And for people who are more extroverted, for example, they have to be okay with, as I said, not entertaining people anymore, not giving people what they want in a way of, trying to control reality through being like on top of everything and being the main star and always being above people or whatever. And they do that through giving themselves space, through allowing themselves not to be always proactive, not to be always in the spotlight and always doing something and, like bring value in that. They take that time and do stuff for themselves. And that's when you reach that independent state. But this independent state just goes that far. That's like that hole that created from not being being dependent. On the one hand, you fill it through doing things for yourself, and you completely change, your worldview changes, everything changes. And then there comes the space of interdependence. And interdependence is very, very healthy. That's why I always I feel like, it's not your end goal to be completely independent if you define independent the way I do it or how it was defined in that book. Because, interdependent means you need to be independent, and then you and somebody else give each other what they need, what they want, what is good for them. And through that, you both grow and you have a better relationship, because there are certain things you cannot give to yourself that are not in you, that you will appreciate them when other people have them around you and they help you to get there. But there's no dependency on that. So if you lose that, you don't lose your life. You don't lose your who you are, your sense of being, and so on. That's why so many INFJs, when they get into an intimate relationship where all those emotions and all those things are really being triggered in each other, and you're still in that dependent mode, it is such a huge loss if it doesn't work out, and you go way too far and so on, because you absorb so much of your life energy through that. But once you get to that independent and interdependent thing, is I would like to have you in my life. I would love to have your energy around me, but I'm not willing to sacrifice my well-being. I'm not willing to sacrifice my life purpose, or you're not my life purpose. I have my life purpose and you have your life purpose, and we walk together. And I appreciate you having you with me, but this just that far as I'm gonna compromise on who I am or who I'm, willing to change or so on. There's just a certain independence that is not negotiable. And then you really get into this interdependent state, and you can really ask for things that you want in your life and give things for others, but not at the cost that it will cost, that would have been if you were dependent. And so this is what I think a very, very interesting step, system, if you think about it. And it really helped me to understand what I need to do in order to get to that state. And now that I'm much more in that state, I can definitely say that I'm much healthier, I'm much happier. I have not that many thoughts of what is my life purpose, what am I supposed to do, what is the sense in all of this, because I'm living it. I'm doing what's good for me, and I'm bringing the value to life that I want to bring, and not what I think is going to make me look good. Okay, so this is my take on the topic of being self-sufficient. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All of my other social media is written below. And thank you for watching. Thanks for your subscriptions and your comments. It mean the world to me. And talk to you next time. Bye. And you get out of that hole you were in. And I think once this settles in, why didn't I tell my friend? Well, come on, it's no big deal. I couldn't, because it felt so intense for me what she was feeling. I was